Welcome to my March CEO memo. I have a number of things to go over today. Quite a few of that is related to AI, but I will get there in a moment. It was an outstanding March for us. There was so much going on. We've got quite a few people that are joining the business in new roles. And then we also had Mindy, our senior project manager, one of our senior project managers, go on maternity leave. So I believe that she will be gone until the end of the year. We wish her all the very best as she joins motherhood for the first time. So that's really exciting. We had a great catch up as a team just before she went away and celebrated that. So that was really, really awesome. And it's as the business grows in any kind of situation, it's really heartening to see people go from strength to strength in terms of their life developments. As much as it is good about work, I know that at the end of the day, it's about what we do in our own personal lives that really drives us forward. With that said, very, very happy with the team that we have at the moment. It is one of the best teams that I have ever experienced working with. We are just so plugged into what we're doing. There's so much going on. It was a very busy month across the board for a range of reasons. Before I start, I'm wearing my Auckland rugby referee's tie. This is about a 20-year-old tie now. It's a weird looking tie, actually. I was on the Martin Devlin podcast this morning for round 8 of the Super Rugby season. There is, if you're watching this through or clicked on this video through your email, you'll see that at the bottom of that are the preceding couple of weeks of videos that I am on for that. That's actually working really well. Just the general question or point to be made about marketing, and that'll lead in quite nicely to the reviews that I'll talk about, is that we were finding the first couple of months of the year tough to get leads. We spent a lot of money, as I've said in the past, on our lead generation, and we were just not getting the cut through. Now, I don't really want to be on podcasts. Even recording this memo, can be takes time, and I don't like the way that I look or sound. I'm sure we all have that kind of thing, and I turn down the radio when I hear my radio ads. It's not something that I'm naturally drawn toward. So when I was asked to be on the podcast, I was like, look, we're not getting any leads from advertising through the show. Okay, I'll give it a chance and I'll be on the show. Now, that has actually worked. We are getting leads from that. But generally speaking, when the leads were not coming in for us, I was like, let's review all of the marketing. Let's look at what we've actually got out in market. So we redid all of our digital ads. We changed the ads that we are using for the radio. We included Instagram and Facebook, which we haven't done in the past because there are so many of our competitors in that space. And if you consider for yourself, if you've got everyone competing in one area, why don't you zig while they zag, right? So it's about having that discussion with your project manager. In fact, I do know that for a lot of our clients, that's what we have been doing. If we were running a campaign for one product and we saw a decline in that, we're spooling up another campaign for another product. The fact that we're able to be that much more nimble now is really, really awesome. So do talk to your project manager about campaigns that you have running at the moment. And if they're diminishing in their return or their cost per lead is going up, what other campaigns can you be bringing on board so that you could advertise a different product or service? Nevertheless, we also looked at the number of reviews, and that was the point I was going to make, was that Google over the last couple of years has stolen 35 reviews of ours. Now, I had this happen in the past. So total over the years, we've been in business, Wonks as a brand has been in business for at least 16 years now. They've stolen probably upwards of 80 reviews, 5-star reviews. We have one-star review from an anonymous person. They never took that one. They took around, over the preceding period, so from 2020, let's say 2010 to 2022, they took around 50. From 2022 to 2026, they had taken a further 35. And so in 2022, I ordered them all. I was like, who's giving us the leads? And we got dropped down to 53 5-star, 52 5-star, one star review. And so I went to the team. I said, look, we need to address this. It doesn't reflect our business as well as it should. Thankfully, we generated a significant number. We've got 97 reviews now, 1 4-star review, 1 1-star review, and the rest are 5-star reviews. And I have been talking to a number of people, and the contention is if you've got 5 stars, people don't believe it. So actually having less than 5 is a perfectly acceptable number. Obviously, you don't want to go too low, but my main point here is about how much of an impact that reviews have. Because about the same moment that we started changing out the reviews, all of a sudden, leads started ticking through the door. Now, yes, we did change out a lot of our other marketing, the messaging that we're putting there. We looked at the website. Do we have that fit for purpose? These are all things that you can be talking to your project manager about and ask them to look at it with a fresh pair of eyes. But then I started talking to a few other clients and said, well, I've reviewed your business. We've used your service. Can you check to see if my review was there? And it wasn't. And so I'd say to you, if you go back to your customers and clients, how many of their comments have been unpublished? Because what's happening is that for the couple of clients that I went back to, that I worked with, I went and my comment was there, but it was unpublished. And all I did was add a full stop to a sentence and republished it, and now it's still sitting there. I mean, I don't know how that's fair. I don't understand how a large international corporate can ride roughshod over your over your reviews as to what you're allowed to post, and to be able to influence your business in that way. Now, Google My Business is a horrendous product and always has been. If you've used Google My Business yourself, you will know this. Getting it verified or gets conflated with other people's accounts. I heard that one last week, should I say, where a different ad account was seemingly connected to their GMB listing. And so these are common issues that are encountered. But when you try to get support and reviews from Google My Business, you're talking to the ultimate nameless, faceless entity. At least with Google Ads, we can do whatever we, masking, and can get that resolved. In fact, we do have a pretty good relationship with Google My Business on some level, but certainly not to the place where they can take away reviews. So my recommendation to you for the month of April is go and have a look at your reviews. What can you be doing? We've got a number of PDFs that we can give you to help to work on with that. From an AI perspective, and that's a nice little segue into AI, AI will be indexing a lot of the things that are in your reviews. So it's imperative that you respond to your reviews. What we did, if you go to our reviews, you'll see that I'll say a lot of the time, best digital marketing in Auckland or best digital marketing in New Zealand, because that's what's picked up in the AI to go and rank your business for. So do make sure that first and foremost, you go and look for reviews, that you audit them. If you don't have, if you've got less than 100, I'd go and have a look at auditing them, put them in a Google spreadsheet, see what you've got, and then in a year's time, what's missing? Why have they gone? And maybe go back to those people that had originally given you the review, as we did, and those businesses came. In fact, I think if you were to look at two of our reviews, you will see that they have posted in the last month, and you'll see our reply to their review several years ago. How does that work? Enough of that in terms of the AI space. Right, AI is going bonkers. Claude is releasing different products every day of the week. But I think the one that should be highlighted is what's called OpenClaw. So OpenClaw is an agent building product that you can run on your machine. A lot of people are using Mac Minis for this. And it can do all sorts of wonderful things. You can text it to ask it to open your browser and check to see whether or not something that you had on there was available and passed through to someone else. Or you can ask it to run a script on your desktop so that you can do whatever, add a link into a calendar invite, things like that. That's all really, really useful. However, it's very open to prompt injection, and that's a very dangerous way of being able to take advantage of someone's computer, and the AI basically gives it up. Now, I have been doing a significant amount of research around what's going on. The two main podcasts, what happened there, Mike? Computer something odd. The two main podcasts that I have been watching at the moment is the Diary of a CEO. That is a really informative one. It covers off other information. It's not just AI related, although the best podcast I think that I watched about is the Godfather of AI. It was a really good podcast. I might actually add that down the bottom as a link for you to watch. And the other one's called Rod Miller AI. Now, Rod Miller AI is really a wingnut type guy out of America. He's just, doing his thing. He's got his own style, but what he is showcasing is where a lot of these AI platforms, and I'm talking about the big boys here. I'm not talking about some random side AI. I'm talking about OpenAI. I'm talking about Claude or Anthropic. I'm talking about Gemini. I'm talking about Grok. How these products are not delivering on promises and are in fact letting loose and deleting things that it shouldn't. Now, agents are the way of the future. So AI breaks into a whole range of different things, right? So I think that it's important to understand what it is that we're talking about. A lot of the clients that we work with want to rank for AI mode on Google, or they want to rank within OpenAI's ChatGPT product. Now, unfortunately, there is no law or rules as to how that can happen. And so what it's looking for is hyper-localized, hyper-recent content. That think about YouTube, Reddit, your Google My Business listing, things like that. But unfortunately, because they are not clear on what it is that you can be doing to rank there, it isn't as easy to do so. We are seeing that there has been a decline in organic traffic since the beginning of the year. And that's because less people are using Google. It's also because bots are dropping away, and they're working on that as a behind the scenes spam issue. As long as your conversions stay strong, then you should be fine. So that's the use case. A lot of people are using AI for ChatGPT, large language models, and they're going, okay, well, write this essay for me, or summarize this document that I need to understand. Again, that's typically what most businesses are using AI for. So they want to rank for AI, and they want to use AI in a simple way. Tickety-boo, all good. That's kind of like the most basic of how AI is able to be used. The more penetrative aspects of AI is getting it to learn and train on your own data. So how can you do that? Well, what we're looking to do, and we've got a pilot program for Google Looker at the moment, where we are taking 5 data points: Google Ads, Google Search Console, Google Analytics, Google My Business, and Meta, to put into a cloud account, which we then sync into the Looker account so we can run a couple of different things. One, the first thing is the dashboard. The other is conversational analytics. So asking prompts, or putting a prompt in and saying, can you please give me more information about that? So our pilot program is currently running through. So that's sort of first step for a lot of businesses, is aggregate your data and apply an AI model to get the information. Critically, you must secure your data. The way we do it is through, as I said, BigQuery, and then we have security features. That BigQuery has its own security features through Google. Then to look at, again, security features against a Google product. So it has very clear data sovereignty in terms of who's accessing what. So that is the first thing that you can do as a business, is looking at what data sets you have and what platform you would use. The second piece of the puzzle, of the AI puzzle for business productivity, is really around agentic structure. So agents doing your work. Now, in the last week, we built an agent on Perplexity Computer with a connector through to Google Ads to allow us to pull data in a more efficient way. Now, that saved around 50 hours of operational resource per month, because we no longer need to authorize scripts in our system. We are being able to pull that information and get that done automatically. The next agent that we are going to build is going to be for our traffic team, and it'll allow for reallocation and allocation of tasks. We currently do using the what's called the Microsoft Graph, which is using Outlook calendar events put into our staff members' calendar so they know what task they've got on any given day. We built that using Azure. It runs, it allocates, deallocates, but that piece of software that we built in Azure is getting older now, and it's clunky and it's expensive to replace. These agents are going to be able, the agents specifically that we're going to use for that, should be able to do that with a lot more of a natural allocation and being able to tell it to do certain things. And there's the thing, there's the point that I want to raise, that it's not a whole bunch of agents, it's one agent. And you've got to be very, very, very careful what you do with your agent. There are so many agents being built now without any security measures, without using a semantic layer. So a semantic layer are the rules that govern how your data is going to be used, that are being built, that are basically allowed to access anything on your computer or access anything within your data pool, and things are going sideways. Things are not going well. And so I think that that's something that the background that I have when I logged into Zoom to ask, okay, today I want to have a change of background, because otherwise it'd be behind me. You'd see my pool table, but instead I wanted to have it just say WebWonks. I typed in WebWonks. Now this is what AI thinks WebWonks is. I think that that's, I'm ordained. Thank you. I'm gathering that kind of looks like a constellation with laser beams or something. I'm not really sure, but I think it's a prime example of, like, where did it get, how does this associate to WebWonks? Like, where did it pick that information from? Like, it doesn't know the context. And so this is where a lot of implementation for AI is going wrong. And I think that that's something that, yes, there is new AI products every day, multiple times a day. But what is it actually doing for your business, and how can you implement it? And critically, how can you implement it safely? And so that's why it's taking us a little bit longer to get this Looker product up and going, because we have to do it the right way. We're not going to release a product that's not going to work. Worse, is going to take your information and give it to the wrong people. We need to be careful about this. And on that, we have an AI policy. No other AI product is allowed to be used for a large language model for asking how to do this except for Gemini. The reason for that is because we pay Google for a higher license with Google, with our G Suite, so that none of the information that's put into the AI escapes our workspace. If you use ChatGPT in your office and you pull in notes from another meeting that you've had, ChatGPT has that. If my staff do that and they put it into Gemini, it doesn't go any further than our workspace. And so that's, if you're working with a vendor at the moment and they're taking your information, oh yeah, I use AI, and all they're doing is using ChatGPT, they should be investigated by you as to what information they're giving to ChatGPT, because it's just going out the door. If you want a version of our AI policy, get in touch with me. I'll happily send it to you. And as I've said in the past, and I've had a couple of people get in touch with me to discuss this, if you want to have a chat about what's happening with AI and in this landscape, which is broad, I've seen, obviously, when social media came, everyone was on the social media train. Everyone had a Facebook page, but it didn't work. Like, for so many years, Facebook advertising didn't exist to start with. It took them a long time to get to that party. And when they did, it didn't return any leads. Only just recently are they now using Google Analytics for their conversion tracking and getting a little bit more efficient, which helps with machine learning. So this is a much longer SEO memo than I was anticipating, but I am doing so much research on this that I think it's a really cautionary tale as to how you're going to develop agents in your own business and how you're going to build information that's actionable from data that you own, right? So it's about getting it in the right space and getting the right platform for the analysis piece. And then from an agent piece, be really careful about what you're using it for. Don't just let a staff member in your company go carte blanche and build you an agent, because you might find that that information is leaked, or it deletes it and it's unrecoverable. It's a very perilous position out there. I've spoken enough on that. I'll keep those comms going over the year. Finally, a good massive 17% increase in revenue month on month from March to February, which is great to see. Conversions didn't grow by as much. Obviously, we're seeing some turmoil out there. Interest rates are increasing in Australia. We have an OCR decision coming up in New Zealand this week, I believe, and it's likely that it will stay on hold, although inflation is obviously going to spike and it's going to go through the roof. And so I'd expect that that's going to increase, which may likely crimp where online sales and leads are going to go. So interesting to watch, because it was a really big turnaround from March to February for the online sales space. So that's sort of me. A lot going on at the moment. It's going to be a busy April. Obviously, it's a short month in New Zealand. Well, I think both New Zealand and Australia obviously have Anzac Day. We had Easter. So let's pack in as much as we can. If you've made it all the way to the end of this video, I thank you very much. You are amazing. Have a wonderful month, and I will see you in May.